Welcome back, and today we're talking about Higurashi When They Cry episode 5. So like always, let's just jump into it. This episode can actually feel quite confusing because you're jumping into Keiichi getting a call from Rina and Mion talking about going to do club activities and having a good time. And last time we checked on episode 4, we saw Rina trying to kill Keiichi. A huge murder scene. I mean, it was a brutal scene, blood everywhere. Keiichi got stabbed like 47,000 times. Yeah, it was a bad scene. Heck, we even got to see other characters like Rika. She was murdered. We don't know who did it. And it was a huge impact on that episode. And now it seems like everything was erased, everything was forgotten, and we don't know exactly what's going on. Heck, episode 4, we got a huge cliffhanger whenever the nurse asked Keiichi about if his neck was kind of, if he needed to scratch it, if it was itching, and he just screamed. So huge cliffhanger. And then this episode, it seems like everybody forgot everything what happened. We see that Keiichi is not hurt. We see that Rina is not dead. We see that Rika is still alive. So what happened? So I obviously went back and looked at episode 4 and kind of started seeing the calendars. I forgot about the calendars. We got to keep up with the calendars and the date. Essentially, episode 4 happened on June 23rd and episode 5 takes place on June 12th. So that's why we see Keiichi, Rina, Mion all having a great time, like if Rina didn't try to kill Keiichi. So that leads me to believe there seems to be some time resetting, some time travel stuff, because if you remember from episode 2, we see Rika talking to somebody, and she was letting her know that she was going to be sent back to a certain time, and Rika said, well, it's all right because I at least know what's going to happen now, so she can try to fix it. So I'm guessing they're trying to fix some sort of timeline or something along those lines, and that's why whenever Rina, Rika, and all of those different characters died in episode 4, it kind of reset the timeline. Maybe it happened again, the same thing that happened in episode 2, it happened again. So that's my theory right now, right? Because it is very confusing, and I can see how some people might be turned off by this point, right? Because we're 5 episodes in, and while we think it's going to get brutal and we got a huge cliffhanger in episode 4, coming back into this episode, it might even feel like filler at some point, right? It might actually feel like filler. Now this episode, really not a lot happened. We see that Keiichi, Mion, and Rika and Rina, everybody, the whole cast, they go to do a club activity, and it's just playing games in a gaming shop. And we see that Keiichi, he tries to bribe his way onto the win, and he did a good job. It was, I wouldn't say it was entertaining, but it was kind of showing us the characters and how they like each other, right? Because I don't know about you guys, but every time I see Rina on screen, I get scared. Okay, like Rina, I don't care if she's smiling, I don't care if she's happy, I don't care about any of that. When I see Rina on screen, I'm kind of worried for Keiichi, right? Now, this thing also set up Mion's twin sister, Cheon. She looks exactly like Mion, except she was wearing like one of those work kind of that shows a lot of skin, fan service. So we did get a little fan service in this episode if you like that kind of stuff. But yeah, Keiichi was surprised to learn that Mion has a twin sister. At first I was kind of like, I don't know, maybe Mion is trying to downplay the fact that she's working at this restaurant and she has to dress the way she is. But no, she really does have a twin sister named Cheon. So I can't wait to meet more about her, learn more about her, because I'm sure she's going to be a very important part of the story. Now, in this episode, we also got to see Cheon kind of interact with Keiichi, bringing him lunch. It was a very cute scene, but I don't know about you guys once again, but ever since last episode, with his house being that dark and Rina knocking on his door, telling Keiichi to let her in, I'm scared of that hallway now, okay? I am scarred for life. I am scared of that hallway. Whenever, somebody was knocking at the door and I didn't know who it was, I was like, oh, is that Rina? It's about to go down again. What's going on? But no, it was a happy scene with Cheon just kind of bringing food over for Keiichi. So yeah, not really a lot happened this episode, right? We see that they're talking about the Watanagashi festival once again. Maybe we're going to get more information, right? Maybe once we get to the same timeline as before. Maybe whoever reset the timeline and went back, maybe they're trying to change the fact that they don't want either Rina to die or Rika to die, or maybe they don't want Keiichi to get hurt, right? So maybe something will be different. Maybe we'll find out what happened to the photographer and the nurse. Again, we know that every time this festival happens, somebody dies and somebody goes missing, demoned away. So maybe they're trying to change this whole thing around. So I feel like a lot of people might not dig this episode just because it just changes everything so quick, right? It just feels like it just got dropped here and we don't know exactly why. Now, I do remember watching the old version of this anime, so I know some of the brutal scenes that are coming. I know some of the big events that are coming, so that's why for me it's not that bad. I kind of understand what is going on, so I know later on we're gonna get answers. But this is like a reboot almost, so I don't know if we're gonna get the same answers as the old anime. So that's why I'm kind of like, you know, curious to see how it's going to change, because we are using some of the same scenes as the older version, but we are getting some different outcomes, right? Like episode 2, that did not happen at all in the older version. So we are getting some new information. We are getting some different scenes, but mostly it's kind of similar to the older version. So I can't wait to see how they're gonna do this differently. I can't wait for episode 6, because the ending of this episode was very, very weird. We see Keiichi, he knocked over some motorcycles, and some thugs kind of started, you know, doing what they do. They started kind of harassing Keiichi, even though it was an accident. He was about to get hurt, I feel like. And that's when we see, I believe it was Chion or Mion. I can, you know, they're twin sisters, so who knows? But I think it was Mion that came in and tried to put a stop to the thugs. And the look in her face looked very, very dark. And then the other thing is, the people behind her, like the whole town, they all looked very, very dark. So I don't know if this is part of the curse. Again, we know from episode 1 that there was a mob, and essentially they murdered one of the construction workers of the dam, and that's why the project was put on halt. So we see this mob mentality right here, right? Where we see the thugs are picking on Keiichi, and like the whole town kind of, they seem like they're about to hurt these 3 thugs. So I'm wondering what's going to happen there. Again, that could probably lead into the fact as to why that construction worker got murdered, right? Because if this has to do with the curse and everybody in this town is affected by that curse, well, this could explain a lot, because that means whenever the construction worker was, you know, doing his job, the whole mob mentality, the curse could have activated on everybody, and that's why they went in and completely murdered that dude. So we could see the same thing here next episode. I really hope we get more brutal scenes, because that's what I like about this anime. I really like when it gets brutal, when we get the torture scenes, when we get the nasty stuff. That's what I like about this anime. I really don't enjoy the episodes like this one, where everything is so happy and you know, Keiichi is going with the flow, with the school life and stuff like that. I understand it needs to happen, but really when I watch Higurashi, is to see the torture scenes, is to see the death scenes, and that's what I like about this anime. So I really want to get more of that. But overall, okay episode. I wanted more. I wanted more answers from last episode, because we had that huge cliffhanger. But we're getting close to that date. I believe the episode ended on June 13th. So we're getting close to that same date again, and that's when we're going to see if anything happens differently. But yeah, okay episode. I wanted more. But like always, let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments down below. And like always, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next episode.